Ah, yes, I'm giving it one more chance. Or Polygon one more chance. I am back. And actually, I think my setup was in this before when I shot the first thing I watched from Polygon or the Unraveled series. Well, okay. Nonetheless, this is Pokemon Edibility. Welcome back to another video, ladies and gentlemen. And I've gotten recommended 3 different ones from this. And I picked the ones that I was most familiar with. And I'll make videos out of them. So it's the Dark Souls one, I think, the Castlevania one, and this one. So yeah, this intro is just going any which way. Polygon and Mr. I forgot his name because it's been so long. It's Brian David Gilbert. Fuck, what is happening to me? Brian and the Polygon. If it's a team of people, I will take down my video. Even the last one, if you don't want it up. Other than that, let's go. Let's go. Wait. Oh, I'm dying. 3, 2, 1, start.
Come on.
Okay.
Pocket monsters. You gotta catch 'em all, as they say.
I love his hair, man. It's luscious.
But in the world of Pokemon, there are an abundance of creatures, and certainly not every one of them will be caught and cherished by a trainer. Some may stay wild, or fight fires, or become surrogate fathers to 10-year-old protagonists with hot moms. But is that the extent of their use in the Pokemon universe? Today, I'm going to solve the #1 most requested question I get in my Twitter mentions and emails and in skywriting above New York City. Today, I am
Pokemon Edibility.
I cannot do this. I can't do this. I can't do Pokemon Edibility, Tara, because I literally said after the first episode, don't ask me to do this again, and the only reason we agreed to do more Unraveleds is because we specifically said I would never, ever, ever have to do Pokemon Edibility, right? Like, I can't reveal... Like, if I do this, there's no more worlds to conquer. This is it. This would have to be the final Unraveled.
Well, then I guess this is the final Unraveled.
This was the last one?
Today, for my final Unraveled,
Oh, okay.
I am ranking Pokemon by Edibility.
BDG. Oh, it got
But
BDG. I like that.
Just say that
BDG.
this question is flawed.
Call me
when people
LWL.
ask for an Unraveled on Pokemon Edibility, it's always, can you rank Pokemon based on their Edibility? Rank? No, I can't rank Pokemon on Edibility because Edibility is a Boolean function. Either something is fit for human consumption or it is not. Pizza is not more edible than salad. They're both just edible. So asking me to find the most edible Pokemon is a fallacy. There's no such thing as the most edible Pokemon. So don't try to find it. I'll stop complaining. I'm just saying that y'all are asking one question but meaning another. So let's.
I like, literally though, what has me weak is that you can't really taste them. So the way I was thinking about it and how they're asking the question is basically, will Pikachu zap the fuck out of you if you bite into cooked prepared meat of Pikachu, or with a what is it? I can't remember some of the Pokemon names. I wasn't really big on Pokemon. I had a lot of the cards, and there's few moments in my childhood where I've come across huge collections that people had. But like the water type Pokemon, like, would the meat taste like the sea or like a lake, kind of like a lake-ish taste? Like, I'm pretty sure I've heard like alligator meat tastes like kind of like a swamp meat. I don't know. So with like Pikachu's meat, is that okay? Let's just continue the video. You see what I'm getting at? Or would like a fire type need to even be cooked? I suppose they only spew the element. Okay.
Let's unravel what you actually mean by finding which Pokemon are fit for human consumption. And by the way,
he's just trying to find which are
arguing
fit for
the
human.
ethics of eating Pokemon. If you slice a sirloin from Mama Kangaskhan and fry it up while her baby watches, is that morally reprehensible?
Why did the baby have to be watching?
Because apparently that question isn't important to you sickos. Kangaskhan meat is edible, and that's all there is to it. So let's talk about how we find this info. First, we start with a list of every Pokemon, including variations and regional forms, just in case a Pokemon is only edible in one specific state. Then we start finding equivalents in our world. This is easy enough for Pokemon like Miltank, which is just a big milky dog, but it becomes a bit more difficult with abominations like Aromatisse.
It feels
What
like you
is
could
that?
shave that one and then, like...
Sexy bird? A piece of sentient cotton candy that started doing local burlesque shows? At this point, we must
a piece of sentient cotton candy.
turn to the
Okay,
Pokédex to
I like
decide
this
if
video
we're
a lot
free to
better than the
chow
one I
down.
watched.
This is also important for clarifying things like execute, which might seem like a bunch of eggs, but according to the Pokédex, are actually seeds. In Aromatisse's case, the Pokédex says that its scent is so overpowering that unless a trainer happens to really enjoy the smell, he or she will have a hard time walking alongside it.
That's sad.
Sadly, even this does not paint a clear enough
That was a
picture
weird
on
synchronicity. Then he said sadly.
So it's time
next.
for the final step. Using my years of experience as both a gamer and human who has survived multiple encounters with dubious food to decide if I could eat that Pokemon. Aromatisse is basically an overpoweringly stinky owl. I could eat that. So Miltank, Aromatisse, Execute, and Kangaskhan are all edible, but that's just 4 of the 969 Pokemon.
There's
Considering how vast a task it would be to qualify the edibility of every one of them, I originally...
I thought Pokemon don't... Like, I'm gonna get attacked by Pokemon fans, maybe. I thought Pokemon were kind of like SCPs and they don't ever end, but...
tried to disqualify entire
like,
types.
more just keep
like
getting
poison.
added.
But even that doesn't work.
Poison,
the problem is that when the Pokédex says poison, it sometimes means venom. And the difference between poisonous and venomous is extremely important in edibility. Here's a diagram to explain it. Basically, if you want to eat a king cobra, you'll not only have the easiest fun fact for any future icebreakers, but you'll also be fine so long as you cut off its head, which is where the venom glands are. But if you get a hankering to lick up on that tasty-looking golden poison frog, you're buying a one-way ticket to Ground Town, which is what I call the cemetery. What I'm saying is that if Pokemon can somehow differentiate between ground and rock type, they could have a poison and venom type. Anyway, here's all the poison types that are edible. Now let's talk about other ways to narrow this down.
I don't know the name,
like
so
the Ultra
I don't
Beasts
think I would be too. I remember Tentacool actually, and Tentacruel. And I don't know the rest.
Edible. Now let's talk about other ways to narrow this down, like the Ultra Beasts, who are beyond human understanding and probably not organic in nature.
Is that a buff-ass
so it's
mosquito?
pretty safe to say that they wouldn't be fit for human consumption. Similarly, the Steel in Steelix would most... Can I just say that the reason I never wanted to do this Unraveled is because it's so overdone? Like, if you Google eating Pokemon, you get 43 million search results. You could find hundreds of articles and videos and podcasts
I would imagine
wiki
you would.
entries discussing Pokemon edibility.
I would imagine you would.
No, you still insist on me doing it. Like, this isn't
They want to
even
see you do
research
it,
into
BDG.
things that have very little meaning. It's the research equivalent of a baking soda volcano. I'm not doing anything new, and that's a waste of both your...
Technically, everything under the sun that is done is not technically new. Technically, I would say in certain cases, there's nothing new under the sun.
And my time. Why do you even want to know the most edible Pokemon? You don't want to know that. You don't.
My ears. It's okay, man. They
Here's
just want
the
to see
list
it
of
from you
every
because you're
inedible
beautiful.
Pokemon. It took me a couple...
Holy moly. Geodude, I do know that name. Holy Regirock, that'd make a lot of sense. Crobat, I know that name. Registeel, yeah, okay, yeah. Regigigas, okay, yeah, where my mouse is, hey, Regigigas. I remember Regigigas. I like saying the name. Yeah, there's a lot. There are a lot of familiar names and a lot more ones I don't.
To run through my process for every one of them, but I'm glad
Pokemon,
I did because there were some interesting ones. Like how Slowking and Slowbro are both edible, but their Galarian counterparts are not. And the Porygons are one of the only normal types that are inedible because they're made of code. And I had originally thought that Reuniclus would be a nice jelly boba, but it turns
a jelly boba, and technically, never mind.
out that if you drink the liquid surrounding it, it grants both wisdom and immediate death, making Reuniclus the Pokemon equivalent of a Tide Pod. On the other hand, roughly 3/4 of all Pokemon are edible. And I reiterate, this is not new knowledge. It's literally written into the games. Children used to have Appleton as a snack. Basculin are remarkably tasty and have often appeared on the dinner table. In Drompa's Pokedex, it says...
Wait. That makes sense, though. It makes sense that that's in the game. Wait, so what is the purpose of this video?
If a child it has made friends with is bullied, it will find the bully's house and burn it to the ground.
Wow.
That doesn't have anything to do with edibility, but it is metal as hell. Also, you can still eat Drampa. But this still isn't what you asked me for. You wanted me to rank Pokemon by edibility. And the closest I can get to that is ranking Pokemon type by edibility based on the percentage of Pokemon that are edible and have that type.
Yeah, okay.
Poison is the least edible.
That would make sense.
Normal is the most edible.
That would make
Wow. What a revelation! Who would have thought that normal things are good to eat and poisonous things are not? But that's not good enough for you, is it? Because you want a full ranking. You want to know the most edible Pokemon.
True.
But as I mentioned previously, that's impossible. And if, hypothetically, it was possible, I can promise you wouldn't want to know that.
Yeah.
So maybe what you actually want me to rate is deliciousness. I wanted to find a baseline.
I think that's where I'm at with this. You wouldn't be able to test this, right, unless you had the words of like the lore in-game or conversations about certain other NPCs in the world eating Pokemon.
For something completely devoid of taste, like pure water. And surprisingly, that's not a water type, because most water types are delicious. From succulent Kinglers to light, flaky Magikarp to...
So it'd be like a sea taste.
Palpitoad. So our baseline for completely devoid of taste is actually cast form, because its molecules were found to be just like water, which is another way of saying it's water. But let's talk about the worst and best tasting Pokemon,
so
because
could you like just
no
drink
one
it through a
cares
straw?
about the middling ones. Pokemon type does help us a little in this regard, because we can assume that rock type Pokemon like Cranidos would be a little less texturally pleasant than, say, the fairy type Cleffa, which I want to stab with a stick and roast over a bonfire. Also, all normal / flying type Pokemon are basically the pheasants, turkeys, and chickens of this world, so they probably taste pretty good. Now, do I feel comfortable saying that far-fetched nuggets would be the most delicious thing in the Pokemon universe? Yeah, I do. On the opposite side of the scale, we have the humanoid and hyper-intelligent Pokemon. Ooh. And I'm not entirely convinced that Sock isn't just a blue man that got separated from his group. A lot of our experience with food is how we conceptualize
took me a sec to think about the blue man
and sometimes a delicious food like haggis becomes less delicious when we think about what it is and where it came from. But that's getting a little too close to ethics for my liking, so just shut your eyes and chew that Alakazam meat. Oh, and speaking of Alakazam, there's a little loophole in this whole deliciousness thing. Okay. If an Alakazam trusts someone deeply, it'll let them have one of its spoons. And anything you eat with that spoon is apparently delicious. And if there's a spoon that makes anything delicious, what's the point of me ranking every Pokemon by deliciousness? Seriously.
Well, I mean, the point is, if you don't have the, what is this, an Alakazam? Is that what the name of that Pokemon is? If it doesn't trust you, if you're someone who isn't trusted deeply by one of these Pokemon, then you're not gonna have a spoon of delicious.
What's the fucking point? Which Pokemon
Hey, relax,
are edible
BDG.
is not a novel concept. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that it's up there in the top 3 most theorized things about video games, alongside what's the real Zelda timeline and are Banjo and Kazooie married? By the way, they are, but it's purely for insurance purposes, and it's an open thing. And which Pokemon tastes the best isn't that much better. It's like the second step after your first deep thought about a video game. And the third step would be, what if the protagonist is actually in a coma and has been imagining the whole story? Guess what? You can say that about every fictional story because someone has imagined it. They're called the writer of the story. That's what fiction is. And what would you even do with the knowledge of...
I'm scared, man. You guys rattled his brain with this.
The most edible Pokemon, right? Like, you can't
Like, this sounds, for some reason, this video sounds like an existential crisis.
Crack that egg.
Oh, shit.
If
I love
it's not
this video.
most edible or most delicious, then what do you want to know? Like, maybe... Which Pokemon is the most calorically dense?
Out more.
All right, let's rank them by that. First off, let's define a calorie. It's the amount of energy needed to raise 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Except when you're looking at most American food labels, it's a capital C calorie, which is actually a kilocalorie. And why do we call it a calorie as opposed to a kilocalorie like the rest of the world? Well, because if Americans have a chance to make something more confusing, they will take that chance.
Yeah, it's like I swear we were just making a joke on my stream about that and like the weather thing with Celsius and Fahrenheit.
I know this because I'm American and I made this fucking series. So let's discuss how many calories are in the meat and leaves and goo of Pokemon.
I would want to collab
Once again, we consult the Pokedex, except the problem is that the Pokedex entries are bonkers. Literally every other Pokemon has a description that breaks the laws of physics. Pyroar is said to have a fiery breath of more than 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The surface of the sun is about 9,940 degrees Fahrenheit. This Pokemon has a fucking fusion reactor in its belly, and you're telling me I need to determine the caloric density of a Pyroar rump roast? What's the caloric value of the sun? Don't actually tell me, I don't care. And that's not even taking into account what happens after you eat it. If you serve your family Pyroar steaks as a special treat, you're gonna end up with a toilet experience that gets dramatized by HBO in 40 years.
No. You end up with a toilet experience that also melts the hole in the floor. Like, you end up with family members' ashes, like instant cremation. Is that cremation? Like, did I just say cremation? It's because of listening to BDG. My words have more flair now.
Just so frustrating, because the only reason I'm doing this Unraveled is because y'all won't stop asking me for it. I have actively avoided doing this for more than 2 years.
I hope the other two that I have
it is a
sent to me are also
errand. Pokemon Edibility has been asked and answered so many times, and trying to find a clever angle or hot take, it's just... It's not actually gonna work.
No, it's not actually hard because your take on it is the thing that makes it unique. So definitely you covering it makes this a lot better. Because I've never thought to even search Pokemon Edibility. I think it's crossed my mind before that I wonder what eating Pokemon would be like, but it never sparked a Google search. But you doing it makes it unique. As if I were to go to make, I know he knows this, and I know you watching knows this, but if like any one of us were going to make a fucking Pokemon edibility list, like someone even make an S tier list, it would make it unique because that would be a new person doing it, a new mind.
They asked me for the most edible Pokemon, but they know not what they asked. It's like, you remember back in the Castlevania Unraveled when I said that I originally had a cut that was an hour long and terribly boring,
but I gotta go watch.
People still asked me to release it? Why? Why would you want that?
It's you.
After I specifically said that it was bad. I didn't even enjoy it, and you know I love to hear myself talk, right? Like you think you want it, like how you think you want the answer to Pokemon Edibility, but you don't. let me show you a clip of
It's
what you're
100% better
missing
than
from the
reading the
unreleased
Skyrim
Castlevania
books.
Unraveled.
No,
So
no,
Olrox's
wait,
motivations as
wait, is it spoiled? Is it spoiled? I can't watch this. I gotta watch the Castlevania thing next.
That's what you've been requesting for all these years. That's,
I won't watch it. I'll come back to that.
thing. All right, you say you want to know the truth about the most edible Pokemon because it's going to make you happy, but I know the truth and it hasn't made me happy.
This video is going downhill
Shit.
pretty fast. He is.
Shit.
He's gonna pop a blood vessel.
That was I didn't mean to say. I misspoke. I misspoke.
Please tell me your hair is
that
still
was,
this long, man. Please, somebody tell me his hair is
Because
this
I've spent
long.
the whole video talking about how it's impossible to know the most edible Pokemon, so it would be so I wouldn't know it. Okay, look. I do know the most edible Pokemon. I've known since before I started Unraveled. You see, I used to be a normal type person like you. I was unburdened with the knowledge of video game lore. But then one day, I asked my friends an innocuous question. Do you think you can eat Pokemon? And they said, who cares? Pokemon aren't real. What a meaningless thing to ask. But I didn't think it was meaningless. And I wanted to prove them wrong. So I began researching. And the more I dug into the question, the more there was to discover. And suddenly the question changed from, do you think you can eat Pokemon, to what is the most edible Pokemon? There was a shell of mystery surrounding it, and I wanted to break in and find the golden yolk of truth. I spent years learning everything I could about Pokemon from a gustatory standpoint, and at the end of this journey, I finally cracked it.
The writing
I found the most edible Pokemon. And I told my friends, and they still didn't care. I thought having the answer was going to make me happy. That it was going to prove the worth of my quest,
it's so
prove
dramatic.
my worth, and
so
show
dramatic.
people that what I was doing had meaning. I cared so much about knowing the truth that I completely ignored how much fun I had finding it. Spoiler alert, Unraveled has never actually been about proving the answer to surreal questions. In fact, it's mostly about proving the opposite. Sometimes creators intentionally leave blank space, and it's fun to speculate what bizarre truths could fill that space. But it's less fun to carve those into canon. There are rarely, if ever, any foolproof answers to subjective questions like, what's the best Skyrim book? Or should we be allowing Brian to spend so much sponsor money on milk? And that's why it's so great to ask them. The joy I've gained from these Unravels has never been about the final answer. It's always been how I got there. And it might appear at the start that it's all a lot of research into things that have very little meaning, but no matter how small and niche and insignificant something might seem, the very act of researching or spending time with or caring for it imbues it with meaning.
Yeah.
To you.
To you. Yep.
To the
Oh,
people you
love
share
that.
it with.
Yeah.
Except for my asshole friends. And that's why I'm so reluctant to tell
other versions of his ego on one screen, basically. The different versions of BDG there are.
Tell you the most edible Pokemon.
There was BDG Chad, BDG Skateboarder, and BDG, I don't remember what the other one looked like.
The best gift I can
maybe there's
give
a
you
BDG Chef.
is the chance to search for
But no,
yourself. But as this is my final Unraveled, I still have a contract
this was the final
to
one,
uphold. I will tell you the most edible Pokemon. But before I do, I want to give you a chance to pause this video and leave. Go now, and you can still have those fun arguments about how Psyduck would taste better than Slurpuff. Or you can stay, and we can be
That would literally just come down to personal preference and like to each their own. Who would
crushed under the unbending, immovable mass of truth. Together.
It's your final chance.
I hoped you would have left, but I respect your decision. The truth must be revealed.
Does the video just end?
The most edible Pokemon is Togepi. You can fry them up, boil them, make a nice souffle, crack them over rice. Heck, you can even slurp them down raw. And that's not even counting the ways you can use them in baking cakes.
I love how he ended that.
Now, legally, you can't ask me to do this again. Just wanted to point that out. Legally.
He ended that so bad. I'm done. I'm done. Oh my gosh, the sport of the future. Jesus. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed my reaction to this one. I have 2 more to get through at another later date. Maybe I'll do them right away. But much love and light. Shout out to BDG and Polygon for the great content. As always, stay wavy in the Lunar Dynasty. Nah, I don't say that. Okay, I'm gone.